Okay, perfect timing to be recording. We got people outside making a bunch of noise and a lot of noise outside right now, so not a great time to be recording, but wanted to get this video done for you guys and show you the inside of the X Air app. So right here you can see, when you open the app, it shows you your mix access, your IP address, and this Wi-Fi lock. So if I click this button right here, it'll show up, the XR18 64525C. That's actually the built-in Wi-Fi on this. And if you haven't watched the video I just did about the hardware itself that I have right here, I'll put a card up, which I believe would be right up here, for you guys to go check out that video if you want to take a look at a video about the hardware of the XR18 itself. This video is going to be all about the X Air app. So we're going to dive into that right now. So as you can see, I've got belkin.coavd.5G, so you can label that whatever you want. That's this Belkin right here behind me, and the one that I mentioned in the overview video. So right now I've got it connected to the Ethernet port and that connected to the router, and I'm using that since that's the most stable connection that you can get with this board using the app. So next thing we'll do is we'll click connect, and now I haven't been inside of here since probably since March, and this might not even be the same board that I used when I went to Houston on that gig, but I just want to show you guys the inside of this. So there might be I might have to go and change around a lot of things. So we're gonna go ahead and click connect, and we will wait for that to do its thing, and hopefully it does it and I don't look like a total idiot doing this. So this is cool. Wi-Fi connected to Belkin. Yeah, okay, so let's take a look here. Okay, so we're back at it, everybody. I did figure out how to actually get this to work. All it really took was for me to close all the tabs, restart the tablet, and then I connected to the network from the router, typed in the password, clicked the search button, and then it ended up finding the board no problem. So now when you come in here, you can see that we have we have all of our channels here, and right here you can see that I am selected on channels 1 through 8, and then if I wanted to take a look at channels 9 through 16, just go ahead and click that, and then you've got all your additional channels. So now, first and foremost, I just want to run you guys through this. You can see that I've got this microphone right here connected, so you can see that going through. And one thing that I always enjoy doing, or one thing that I was taught to do through this, and it's actually what's really cool, is that you could use your aux sends as a sub bus. And so what that means is that if you go into this channel right here, you can see that all of our sends are right here, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So if you wanted to connect an external recording device such as like a Zoom H6, or if you wanted to or needed to send speakers out into another room, like it says here, lobby, or if you wanted a center fill, like it says right here, center, you can connect into your aux outs on the board right here, if you can see that, and then you can route that to your why am I blanking on the word? To your center fill, or to the speaker you have in the lobby, or to your Zoom, and then you can just go right into here and say, oh, we'll turn it on here, and so if you go like this, that is 4, 5, and 6. Not sure why they don't have it like 1, 2, and 3, but that's what they have it as. So you can turn those on in channel 1 and say, hey, channel 1, I want this sent to, oh, don't I not have fine on? Okay, so real quick, let's go back here, all the way back, and then you can click fine right there. So now if I actually go back into the channel and go into sends, now I can click down here and actually move the fader. So I don't actually have to click on the fader itself. I can click on the entire channel and it's going to move. So if I wanted to send channel 1 to whoever labeled this as video post, and then I could do video pre and then record press, which might be, you know, maybe the radio station wanted some sort of recording. You could send that to them, and then this would, you know, this would show. So now you can see that we have all of those selected there, and then we have the sends. Let's see here, how do I, and then we have the auto mix here as well. So if you wanted to, so if I press this and I start talking, here we go, unmute that. Now you can see that all of these red bars, if you will, just came down and is now technically auto mixing, if you will. So if I go back into that channel, go into my main, and then turn that off, we'll go back, and now you can see that they're no longer there. So that's one thing that's really nice to have, you know, especially if you have, you know, 5 lavs up on a stage, or maybe more than that, and you know, you have everything unmuted. Now you can see that they're starting to kind of, you know, do, I mean, whatever you want to call them. They're starting to just kind of adjust, even though we don't have any levels coming in from there. But just one thing to keep in mind when it comes to auto mix, make sure you turn that off if you're recording a band, because it's going to sound pretty awful. You definitely don't want to do that. And that's interesting how now it went away, and when I click 2, that's a little strange. Okay, either way, so you can do that. So you've got that auto mix feature available. You could also go to aux out, and you know, you could adjust how much volume each and every one of your aux sends is getting. So you can adjust each individual track. You know, if you go into, you know, your channels 1 through 8, then you go into here, and then you go back into your subs. You know, you can adjust how much you're sending each channel to that specific aux send. And then if you actually go back into the aux out, then you have the actual master fader of that specific aux send, so you can adjust, you know, how much you actually want to send to all of those. I wonder if you could double click and it'll go. No, that's too bad. Okay, so next, one thing you can do as well is what I honestly prefer is to have, you know, you could set your own custom. That's so strange how now it's just doing 2 and not 1. How interesting. Is to set your own custom mixer view, if you will. So let me put this back there. Perfect. So what you can do is that you can come into this custom here, or create your own custom, press and hold, and now you've got this, you know, setup, this layer setup here, where you can go ahead and click add, do channel, and then you can add as many channels as you want, or well, not as many channels as you want, but the channels that you're looking to have in your personal mix. I believe it allows you up to 10 channels across this entire strip here. So let's take a look at how many we have. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The blank ones actually count as a channel thing as well, so you can go ahead and delete that, and now that's going to move closer, which will now, you can see it will adjust here. So it looks like we can do 11. So if I click and hold on custom 1, go to this plus sign here, add a blank channel. Now it's there, and then you could take it, press and hold, and you could just move it wherever you want. So you could put it right in the middle there if you wanted, or you can move it over to channel 4 and then have 5, 6, 7, 8 there. And then let's see if this is going to be too many. You can do 8 over there. Let's take a look. Oh, so not bad. So look, looks like we got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it looks like you got a 12. Look at that, learn something new. So you can have 12 different channels across on your custom mix. And if we go through 1 through 8, it looks like, yeah, 12 of those are well. Okay, so you can set this up however you want. So if you have, you know, I mean, you know, you could have whatever you want here. You could have, you know, channel 1 through 4 like I have. So that could be, you know, wireless handhelds, and then this could be your wireless lavaliers, and then you could have your music, and then you could have your left, right. What I like to do in my custom, you know, when I have a lot of things going on, is let's go ahead and actually, you know, we'll keep that one and we'll delete this one, and then we'll go ahead and we'll add a channel, and then we'll do my lav sub. So just like that, and then I'll move this over right here, And so now when we come over here, so now we have all of our channels 1 through 8, and then we've got that space here, or divider if you will. Then you've got your music and then your live sub. So what I like to do is actually send all of my channels to its own dedicated subgroup, and then I could, you know, adjust the EQ in the subgroup like this. I mean, this thing is definitely hacked. I mean, look at that. This thing is hacked as good as it needs to be right there. Why don't we just go ahead and take this and make it nice? There we go. Now it looks nice and even or level or whatever. It looks like a nice little slide. Looks like what the stock market's been doing the last couple days here. So you can go into here and you've got your graphic EQ. Then you could see it on here. And then your left sub is directed to your main left right. So it's really nice having that, is just being able to send all of your wireless channels or any of your wire channels, you know, like this guy, into its own sub, and then being able to EQ or hack away at that subgroup without actually hacking away and destroying your main left right. Because if we go into the main left right, into here, and we go to EQ, now we can see we just have a minor adjustment here, and honestly, you know, I don't even like that. I like to have my main left and rights flat, and I love this double tap. You can double tap and it'll go back to unity. Absolutely love that. If it'll work. So I like to have my main left right completely flat. And the reason why I like that is that when you send music to it, so now if we go to our music and you go to our sends, you can see that it's not going to our live subgroup. So it's not going through where all of our other channels are. And that's something that's really nice to have available to you. Let me click SE. Yeah, okay, now, so if you click SE here, now you can see if you wanted to send things pre or post fade. So depending on what you wanted, or depending on where you're sending things, obviously you're going to want that in pre-fader or post. You can also do pre-EQ and post-EQ, but I don't recommend you do that. I would just stick with pre or post depending on what you're doing. And for your live sub, you're definitely going to want to have that as post, I believe. So yeah, here we go. Okay, so let's go in here, and so now you can see let's go ahead and open this up, and we'll play some music. So now you can see we've got music coming in through here, and we'll go ahead and play all that. So we've got music coming through here, and our music EQ is, you know, completely flat. So now, you know, when you're doing live events and you have everything routed through a live sub, but then you have your music channel just going straight to the left, right, or to your mains. You know, the EQ that you have set on your subgroup isn't going to be affected. So the music is going to sound like it's supposed to, and it's not going to get, you know, completely whacked out. Because you definitely don't want your music going through an EQ like this. I mean, if you guys can see that, I think the camera can see that, right? Let's see if we can get it even a little closer there. There we go. So now you can see this. Yeah, you definitely don't want your music going through an equalizer like that. I mean, that's not what you want. You want your music to sound good, and if you're in a venue and you're hacking your music like that, well, it's not going to sound very great. So don't do that. Now let's go back. Okay, so going into actually our first channel. So if we go ahead and click channel, now you can see that we have everything in front of us here. So now if we click main, oh, that's why, because I unclicked it. So XY. So now if I actually go back, that would explain it. Now all of those will go. Makes sense. Okay, so go ahead and click channel 1, and now you can see that we have everything that we need basically for this channel. I mean, you can link this to another channel if you wanted to. So you can link channels 1 and 2 together if you chose to, but we're not going to do that because that doesn't make sense for what we're doing. But what you can do is what would I link that for? I don't think you would link it for drums. I'll get back to you on that. Maybe I'll come back to this video and do that. Then you've got your 48 volt here. where you can add phantom power if you had a microphone that needed it. Then you could come into here and configure, basically everything that you're doing here. So you can put a low cut on at whatever hertz you want it to be at. You could adjust your gain, and then you can, let's take a look here. So just so you know, oh, here we go. So you can actually do our effects in here as well. Now, I don't actually recommend you using the built-in effects. They're honestly, they're not that good. So what you can do is you can, route an effects board or an effects rack, if you will, out of the board or out of the effects rack into the board, and then send the channel into that. Or what else you can do is in the board overview, I mentioned it a little bit. I believe what you can do, you might be able to do it with the Ultranet. I'm trying to remember. I haven't used this board or this app since March, before the lockdown. So I'm trying to get a little more familiar with it again. But you can, if you wanted to insert anything, you could put in vintage room reverb. I'm assuming that would be if you wanted to, but I always recommend that you don't do that. So we're just gonna go ahead and click off, because it's not gonna sound good. You might be able to do it with the 18 in and 18 out interface that I was mentioning through the USB port. So if you go through this USB port right here and you plug into your computer, you do have an 18 in and 18 out user interface that you can, I believe, run effects through on that, and then route that through the specific channel. Okay, so let's go into here. So in here, now you have your dynamic. So let's just press gate. So now you can go in here and you have a gate if you wanted to do it. I wonder if I could change that. You could duck it. So yeah, now you can come into here, you can turn that on, and now my voice is gonna get gated, and let's see if I can go ahead and do this. I guess it's not working so well, because let's take a look at the threshold. Here we go. There it is. Alright, boom, boom, boom. And you can see how fast that my voice comes down the moment I stop talking. Ready? And then it's going to come down here. You'll see that red line. And there it goes. Okay, so that looks like a decent level for right now for that. Okay, so your dynamics are over there. Your gate's here. Turn that on or off, and then you can go into your EQ and you can adjust it however you want. So let's see what this is at. So this is at 130, so I'll try to make this so you can see that. So right now this is at 100 hertz. We'll go to about 100, and then obviously you want to do your little search and destroy. Make that nice and narrow. Find where the nasty parts are, destroy it, and then maybe if you wanted to roll something off here and then give somebody a little boost in let's say like 3K-ish area, that would probably be a nice little boost to give somebody in their voice, depending on their voice, of course. I believe you could also do, let's go take a look here. Let's see if we can, Sean Wireless. Okay, so you can actually load your own. So here we've got factory vocals. So you can actually load, let's go here and do factory, why can't I say that? Factory vocals. And this is what they have preset. Now, I don't like that at all. I think that's terrible. I'm not sure why you would increase, unless that was me, but I think that's the preset doing that. I don't know why you would increase 380 hertz. Like that's, I don't know. 380 hertz it definitely isn't a very awesome frequency to be boosting. And then you can do a kick. Let's see what the kick looks like. Huh, okay, yeah, that's not bad, I guess. Not sure why you would take that out and then add it there. I would actually, usually what I like to do is make mine, you actually boost the low end, take out the middle, and then boost the high end a little bit, kind of like what they have here, similar, but you can do whatever you want. I mean, you can play around, you could save your own presets on here. So look, on this one right here, we have lob at neckline. And that doesn't seem too bad. I mean, that seems about accurate. So usually you take out those frequencies, those low mid frequencies. That's usually what you're supposed to do. And another cool thing is you can do, I believe this is the copy right here. I always keep going. So this button right here, 3 in from the left. Copied. Okay, so it says copied here. Then you could go over to channel 2 and I think this is paste right here, and then paste data from channel 1 and 2. So then you can say yes, and now what you have on channel 1 is what you're going to have on channel 2, other than this low cut, which is strange why it didn't do that, but that's what it did. So that's one thing you could do, and then obviously that little floppy disk right there would allow you to save this as, you know, whatever you want it to do. Next, moving over, we could go to our dynamics, and this is, you know, where you can do a little compression on somebody's voice. You know, it's on right now. Obviously, it's not gonna pick too much up. We're gonna have to like really come down here to see if we can get anything. There it is. Okay, so now I'm now the threshold is pretty insane. That's a pretty wild threshold there. Usually you're not going to have a threshold like that, but you know, just for the purpose of this video, there it is. And I'm pretty sure they have their own presets here. Also, one thing to keep in mind, if you can see this SE button right here, if you press that, all that stuff goes away. So there's a chance that you might see absolutely nothing here, you know, you're not going to be able to do what you want to do. So just simply press this SE button, and then everything comes up. I'm gonna bring this threshold back up because, you know, that's just an insane threshold here. Oh joy, it looks like my camera battery is starting to die. Man, I cannot wait for that dummy battery to come in so this doesn't keep happening. I'm actually gonna do another YouTube video on a couple things you need to know when starting YouTube channels, because these lights right here are battery powered, as well as my camera. And in my last video when I was doing the overview of the board, one of the lights turned off, and it's just been an absolute struggle when it comes to keeping these lights charged and alive, even though they're only at like 60 or 70% output level, or whatever you want to call it, not frequency. Now I'm getting into audio stuff mixed with lighting stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna do a video on that, because it's definitely been getting very frustrating when, you know, you're in the middle of a video and one of your lights turns off, or you're in the middle of a video and now my camera battery is about to die, even though it was fully charged this morning. So definitely going to be doing a video on that, and teaching some of you guys, whoever wants to know more about it, how to, a few things you want to keep in mind before starting your channel, and that is to probably get everything plugged into the wall. So everything AC powered would be great, so you don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this recording here, and then I'll have to come back. That's fine, and we'll do this video again, because in the first time I stopped it because I looked like an idiot trying to connect the board, and now I'm gonna have to stop it again because I can't show you guys, you know, the rest of the stuff I want to talk about. So once that's charged, I'll see you guys shortly. We are finally back. It's only been about 3 hours waiting for all the batteries to charge, and also waiting for my fridge to turn the F off, because it's extremely loud and gets into this microphone, and then it's very difficult to get that one out of post. So so let's get back into it. I don't really remember where I was, and let me flip this so I know that I'm doing okay. Perfect. I don't really quite remember where I was in regards to the things that we were talking about, so I figured that we would just go through these layers here on the right side, and then also kind of just jump into the channels a little bit, and then also the strips up here. So let's go ahead and we'll jump into this right here, to this little hamburger fader little icon up here, and that gives you all of these different settings here. So you got your preference, monitor, audio, MIDI, network, layers, and scribble pads. So let's jump into preferences here, and we can see just all that comes up is the auto mix. So, you know, there will be a time, or there could be a time where, you know, you go into your channel here, and you know, when you unmute that, your auto mix isn't working. You know, it won't show up. So one way that you can make sure that it shows up is by going into that menu here, clicking preference, and then pressing show. and then coming back, and now you can see it right here, auto mix X and auto mix Y. So if I click that, then you can see that those red bars went away. Then if I click it back on, now they are good to go. So that's one way that if your show mix isn't, or your auto mix X and Y aren't coming up, you can go into there and click show, and then you'll be able to enable that feature again. So now let's go over back into monitor here, and this just allows you to monitor all of the levels, or at least the level that you're on. It just comes and shows you what's going on here. So really not much that you need to do in here, I guess. If we click SE, then we could do that again, but not too much in this tab here. Then we'll go and I thought I turned that off, so we'll turn that guy off. Then we'll go into your audio and MIDI, and this just shows you everything that's set up and configured in your board. So you can see that we're at 40k hertz. We've got all these different settings here, which is our MIDI configuration, and then obviously our link configuration. We have the preamps, the EQ, the dynamics, and fader. So all of that stuff is set up in case we wanted to have an external piece of hardware like the X Touch, or everything internally here is set up properly. So then after that, we go into network, and right now we're going through our LAN port here. So we've got the network connected, or the router connected through the Ethernet cable. So we're going through the LAN port. Then if you want to do Wi-Fi client, you would simply just toggle this switch over here to Wi-Fi client. That's one thing that I show or mention and talk about in the overview of the actual hardware of the XR18 itself. And then after that, you have the access point, which is using the built-in Wi-Fi, either that antenna right here, all the way, this antenna here, or the actual built-in Wi-Fi chip. Okay, so moving on, after that, we have our layers. And that's everything that we see right here. So all of these are technically considered layers. And so when you go into here and go into layers, now you can see all of them. So if you want to switch those around, you can simply just like move your custom wherever you want. Or in channel 1 through 8, you can press and hold and edit it, and then you could adjust things inside here. So if for some reason you wanted channel 1 to be where channel 5 usually is, you could do that if you want. Don't know why you would, but you have the ability to do that. Also, like I mentioned earlier in this video, or whichever edit this is, because I've had to pause this recording like 3 or 4 times, you can also go into or right here, sorry, so when I mentioned like you have 12 different faders or 12 different channels or strips that you can see right here, you can change that by going into the layers tab and pressing visible channels per layer. So if we wanted to, we could do 20, and then we go back out here, and now we have all this extra space. It just makes all of these a lot smaller. So personally for me, I do enjoy having it as 12. It's definitely a lot more manageable and easier on the fingers, especially if you don't have an external board, or if you're just using this to actually use to mix, which I always recommend having a piece of hardware. I really love using the X Touch control surface in conjunction with this, so I could have this up on some sort of mount, and then I could have the board down here in front of me, and then I could use this for all my levels and doing other EQing and stuff like that. Okay, so after that, we have our scribble pad. So here, this is what's showing all of our channels. So if you go back here, and you can see that everything is white here, and then changing the colors there, that's what this scribble pad allows you to do. And personally for me, since usually, I'm doing live events, mostly conferences, and not too much when it comes to bands and stuff, I usually like to have these green, because these tend to be my wireless devices. So that would probably be, you know, a wireless handheld or a wireless lavalier. So if you can actually go into this gray box section underneath where the can you see this on here? Let's take a look. So if you actually go into the gray box, there we go, the gray box section underneath where we just changed the color, you can actually input, oh, look at that, that's actually kind of funny. You could tell that we do, oh no, you can tell that we do live events, handheld live, and wireless handheld. So you could go and change what the channel name is. So when, like I mentioned, this is usually a wireless, so we'll just click this right here. So wireless handheld, and we'll say 1. And so now it appears right in here. So if you go back to your channel, now it also is going to appear right there. Hopefully you can see that. It looks like it might be a little difficult to see, but it looks different from what channel 1 said. So okay, so after that we've got these arrows right here, and that shows you your input, output, USB, IO, and Ultranet. And then if you go into this little folder here, that's where it allows you to, you know, pick a scene or save certain shows. So if I go into the shows tab right here, then you can see that there's multiple shows that we have saved on this specific board itself. And we also have all of these different scenes that are saved in here as well. So if you wanted to keep what you see right here, you could save this as a scene and then go back and find it within here and then load it right back up, and all your settings will stay the same, or they will come back up, and whatever settings you had on this current show, they'll be saved, and they'll come right back up the way you had it. All right, so then after that we have this little camera here, and this just shows you, you know, all of the different channels and everything that is being used for each one of these different shows and different snapshots. So when you're using that, you know, you can create a snapshot like this, similar to a scene, and you know, you can bring it right back up. Next, we have the FX tab, which is pretty standard, or I mean, FX is pretty standard for, you know, your effects controls. I think everybody understands that part. But you know, as you can see here, you know, you've got your vintage room, hall reverb, stereo delay on both of these, and I think you can load up your own. Yeah, so you can load, looks like you can load up your own preset. Honestly, once again, I don't necessarily recommend using anything within this board. I don't know why that's flashing. But that's the stereo delay. So if you were going to send, let's see here. Okay, look at that. So lobby and left, right. So right here, last person who used this has a stereo delay on, looks like their lobby. It looked like they put a lobby on as a delay. So if you wanted to, so you could use one of your aux sends and send that out to a speaker or a powered monitor, you know, whatever, not an actual human speaker, and then you could set a delay for however many milliseconds on that lobby to, you know, keep it in sync if you wanted to do something like that. Now, I personally almost never use the effects racks, so you know, it's up to you if you want to use the built-in ones or if you want to load your own or use an interface to do that. Okay, and then after that we have our meters. So we're going to go into click meters, and then you can see everything that is coming in through here. So you can see all those levels that are happening. And if I had my dynamics on, or a gate, or a compressor, so let's go into dynamics and turn that on, then we'll go back, hit the meters, then you should see some sort of gain reduction coming in. Gain. Okay, so I actually need to probably turn that up a little more. We'll just crank that threshold like we did before. Boom, there it is, and then we'll go into the meters. Dun dun dun. Now you can see that it's now coming down here. If you can see that small little red dot or line or bar coming in. So if I go ahead and click this, now you can see that it's really coming in when I actually kind of hit the microphone there. Everything's shaking, so sorry about that. So I'll go ahead and I'll adjust that back to something, you know, pretty normal and not a negative 50 decibels on the threshold. And then after that, you know, you could go into your RTA, and that should show, now if I hit this microphone here, it should, there we go, now you can see things popping up right there on the lower bottom here. So yeah, so then you can see everything coming through on there as well with your meters. So I think that just about does it. I mean, also if you do a send to fader, so if you click that, this is now showing you everything that's going to your Lav sub. So if I go ahead and click Lav sub, I can go and change this, and then I can click lobby, and then that's obviously going to bring up the same thing and telling me everything that's going to that specific aux end. And if I do bus master, then lobby is going to come up, and I know how much is getting sent there if I wanted to have that open. Or once again, you know, you can just go to your aux out and you can see it from here as well. So I think that just about does it for this board. You know, if there's anything else that you guys would like me to include into this, I feel like there might be something that I'm missing, because I was just kind of going more of an impromptu video here and didn't really plan this out, so my apologies in advance. You know, I haven't seen this board or touched this thing since early March, so I'm just trying to get more familiar with it again for this video, and there's probably something that I missed. So my apologies for that if I did do that, but I hope I covered the basics and the things that you'll be using this for. So here we go, let's open that up. Yeah, so the main thing that I always recommend is that, you know, if you're doing this for live events, specifically conferences, that you do route all of the channels that are, you know, microphone channels for actual human speakers into a subgroup. So I usually always use subgroup 6, so that'd be the aux 6 here. So you would want to leave that blank or that open. So you don't want to put anything into that. So you wouldn't want to give somebody a feed from aux 6. You'd want to leave that one available for you to use within the app itself. So then you could adjust and EQ and just destroy the crap out of this thing like we have here. Whoever did that, yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to hack them pretty good if you're inside a tent. I know that all too well when it comes to Food and Wine and Ideas Festival out here in Aspen. So that's one thing that I always recommend, is just, you know, putting all of your channels into a subgroup and, you know, EQing that specifically and giving that its own dynamics, so then everything gets routed through there, and then from there you send it to your mains. And I think I showed you guys how to do that, but if I didn't, you know, you'll just go into your aux out right here, and then you can click your subgroup, and then right here on the main, you know, you would just click LR on. So if you didn't have that on, then it wouldn't go to the main left right. As you can see here, nothing's happening. So if I went back to my custom layer that I created, you know, we're sending to the subgroup, but now it's not sending to the left right. So if you do run into an issue where, oh, you know, Sam told me to send this to a subgroup, and, you know, now nothing's coming out of my mains, make sure you go into, you know, your actual subgroup, go to the main tab section here on the right, click main, and then make sure you have your left rights on. And if we go back now, you can see now it's coming out of our mains here. If I actually talk into the microphone, there we go. Now you can see it a lot better. So yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind, and that's, you know, always something that I always recommend. And, you know, if you go to a specific venue often, then I would definitely start saving scenes and saving shows, so then you could, you know, don't have to figure out the right EQs and, you know, the right dynamics for, you know, that specific venue. You know, you could just hack away the first time you go in there, save that scene, and then load it right back up the next time you go in there. So it saves you a ton of time when it comes to actually EQing the venue itself. So I think that's it, guys. You know, if there's any questions that you have, please leave them in the comments below. You know, I will be running through those comments and answering all of your questions. And I will even do an additional video if there's anything that you guys want me to review. So, you know, once again, I mean, this isn't my board. I am borrowing this from the company I used to contract for before the COVID shutdowns happened. So if you do want me to do another video, I'm going to have to go drive 40 minutes to go pick this thing up. But just let me know, because I will go do that, and I have been borrowing, you know, a ton of stuff from him lately, because he's got a garage filled with gear. So just let me know. And if you made it to the end, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you guys watching this. I am going to be doing more videos along the lines of, you know, audio gear, lighting gear, you know, microphones, cameras, lenses, you know, just stuff to keep in mind for YouTube, because I've been running into some issues, as this is, you know, the third video that I filmed now, that I'm going to start posting. Let's need to edit them and start posting them. So, alright guys, well I think that does it for me. You know, if there's anything else that you want me to cover on this board, just please let me know, and I'll happily do another video on it. But, you know, if you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below, and you know, I will be going through that and answering anyone's questions. So, you know, thank you so much for watching. Have a happy holiday, and I'll see you in the next video.